Hello and welcome to Night Hunter Books. Today we are doing the Booktube SFF Babbles on underrated books. So this is kind of linked to the Booktube SFF Awards as well, so I'll put the links to all of that down below in the description.
So my first book is Shades of Milk and Honey by Mary Coel, which is book one in the Glamourist Histories. They are a pitch-perfect pastiche of Jane Austen.
It's not actually a retelling of Austen.
No. It's if Austen had written urban fantasy. I particularly like how the magic system almost makes sense of some of the habits of the time. So, for instance, maintaining illusions takes up energy. So women who were very vain and tended to try and make themselves look prettier with these illusions had a habit of keep on passing out, and then you put a handkerchief over their face and let them recover somewhere else so that they could put their face back on.
So there aren't really any rules that we followed for selecting these underrated books, but it just so turns out that all three of mine that I went to pick up are by the same publisher, which is Haikasoro, which is a publisher that specialises in bringing Japanese stories and translating them for an English language audience. I haven't really seen them very much around Booktube, and they don't seem to have very many ratings either on Goodreads. So the first is probably the most popular, the most well read out of all of them. That's because it was made into a film reasonably recently, the last few years. And that is All You Need Is Kill by Hiroshi Sakurazaka, and the film was Edge of Tomorrow. I did really enjoy the film, but actually I think I enjoyed the book more. This was... It's very short, but it really said everything that it needed to say. I love the Japanese style of writing succinctly. So for anyone that doesn't know, this follows mainly one character, but also a pair of characters who, during an alien invasion of a kind of unspeakable goo nanobot type creature, and unfortunately, or fortunately, every time the main character dies in this war, every time being a bit of a clue, then they reawaken on that same morning of the battle. And they go through many iterations. And it pulls on a popular idea in Japanese writing of kind of levelling up. I think it actually does it really well with the character development as well. Even though it's quite short, I think you do get to see kind of the character come to realisation.
He grows up a lot during the book.
Yeah, which I really liked. And the other main character is a woman who has already kind of been on this learning curve and is a very kick-ass character. She's excellent. Yeah.
Played by Emily Blunt in the movie. She's awesome. Also reminds me of video games. The ability to just go back to your save, try again, and you just get better and better at it. How frustrating
it must be to keep doing the same level over and over though.
Yes.
But yeah, this was written really well. I picked it up and I did not want to put it down, and that doesn't happen for me for that many books. It was funny, it was tense, so everything I was really looking for. Fantastic.
My next book is The Craft Sequence by Max Gladstone, and that's the cover of the omnibus edition of the first 5 books. These are really some of the best fantasy I've read in a very long time. It's fantasy set in a modern world, and it really does just kind of lay bare a lot of stuff about how power systems work and how societies operate, all while being incredibly fast-paced, character-driven lawyer fiction, which is not something I've read a lot of, but lawyers are effectively necromancers, most of them. And it's got a very strong, diverse cast. There are more gay characters than I can count, and they're also sort of referred to in the background of the world. You know, throwaway characters refer to having to get home to their dads.
That's nice.
There's a trans main character I've raved about these books for years to anybody who will listen, and I apparently haven't been sufficiently convinced because I don't know anybody else that's read them.
I'm sure I'll read them at some point.
The anthology is only £6 on Google Play.
Non-spawn. My next one is The Lords of the Sands of Time by Sui Ogawa. This one is again about invading aliens with kind of time travel-y elements. But this is again another very short book which I covered millions of years and did it very well. I like the fact it introduced me to lots of new ideas. So actually I think this one's probably a good one for people who haven't read that much sci-fi, but are kind of happy to throw themselves into it. So this book follows a main character who is an AI and a kind of warrior of sorts. So this book alternates between two different points of view, one being a kind of current day of that character Messenger O, who has travelled back in time trying to help leaders in a feudal Japan up arms and defeat the alien race that has also come back in time. And then this alternates with the main character's time stream kind of jumping all the way back from when he was made up until the kind of far future. So you get the kind of real grand scale of a kind of huge battle across a really wide expanse of time. And also this really personal story of him falling in love with essentially a princess of the time. I found it very vivid, and I quite liked the fact that there was kind of historical elements in there as well. Except everything's a little bit broken because the whole point of these messengers going back in time is to try and advance human society as fast as possible so that it actually has a chance to defeat the aliens. So the order of what stuff's been invented yet is a little wonky. But yeah, really snappy and enthralling.
My next one is A Key, an Egg, an Unfortunate Remark by Harry Connolly. This, I think, is almost unique that I can think of, in that it's a pacifist urban fantasy. The hero is a little old lady who used to be an all-powerful sorcerer who got her way by, blasting things with magic. And these days, basically makes the world run how she wants it to by being snide at people. It's awesome. There is another protagonist who's quite a bit younger, basically her driver, who sort of, wheels her about. Yeah, it's set in an alternate universe, San Francisco.
My final one is by an author who I think is reasonably well known, Catherine Imbolente, but this is a short story collection of hers, The Melancholy of Mechagirl. So the reason this publisher who focuses on Japanese exports has published this book is, I presume, because every one of these stories has a kind of connection to Japan. They're mostly set there.
Yep.
And Catherine Imbolente did live for some years. She was a Navy wife. Yeah, so some of these stories are semi-autobiographical. You've got quite a lot of mystical elements, and it kind of ranges back from kind of true kind of historic Japanese setting to kind of future sci-fi setting.
Yeah, very far future.
She's a very poetic writer, so if you're looking for kind of really beautiful short stories, then she has that, but I think there are some really good ideas in here. There is one in particular which I don't think I'll ever forgive her for not writing more of that story. It is the most frustrating thing. So she definitely grabbed me. I'd definitely say this could be considered magical realism, and it's got that kind of strange elements.
It's quite a sad book in a lot of ways.
I think that does draw on kind of her experience in Japan. I think you said she as preparation before moving there, then she just read a whole load of Japanese folklore. But then I think found it kind of lonely. And I don't think I tend to get along very well with short story collections in general, but this one I really did. It was very atmospheric and with lots of unique ideas. So if you have read any of these, please let us know down below, because we'd love to chat about them, because I don't think either of us have met other people that have read these. Thank you for watching, we'll see you again soon.